Arthur, welcome to an afternoon with Roula KK. I've got to say this. 2020, you were recognised as one of Australia's greatest football talent creators, but your twin boys are actors and are not leaning against football, Australian rules, or soccer. Please explain.
Something went wrong there. Something went wrong. I don't know what happened there. I'd have to ask my wife. Maybe she's responsible for that half.
Okay, fair enough. Now, you have had an amazing career, ex-Jets. Do you want to touch on the teams that you coached for, assistant coaching or coached for, and then you are now part of Melbourne Victory, one of my favourites here in Melbourne.
Yeah. Look, this coaching journey started quite a while back. To be honest with you, it was I was still playing at the time at Sydney Olympic, and the president at the time, there was a one of the teams in the youth that had lost their coach, or their coach was going away. I can't remember exactly what and how it happened, but he asked for a favor and said, do you mind just, I think you'd be really good with this under 14s team, under 13s team at the time. Can you just be their coach for the end of the year? They'd love it. It's a first grade player coaching them. And after a lot of arm twisting, I said, okay, I'll do it, but it's going to be quite difficult and challenging with playing and coaching, and I hope you can accommodate. And I said, yeah, no problem, we'll accommodate. So that's how it actually started many years back. And
this is well before you had your boys? I'm interrupting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is way before, yeah. And that's how it started, really. So I just did like a 3 or 4 month cameo appearance, and I thought, okay, this is quite fun. I don't mind this. And then a couple of years later, I've decided to just pretty much finish up playing and just focus on coaching. And that was probably 10, 12 years ago now. And since then, it's been a great journey so far.
And how did Melbourne Victory pick you up?
Yeah, so, well,
because you were in Newcastle? Was it Newcastle Jets?
Prior to Newcastle, I was at Western Sydney Wanderers for 5 years. And I started there in the under 18s, and then moved up to the reserve grade, and then was also an assistant coach in the first grade there. And from there, I departed after 5 years and went to Greece for a season to work at Xanthi. In Greece. Yeah, and
is it different to working with a Greek-based soccer team to working with an Australian-based soccer team? Is there any differences, whether it comes to rules or training or how it's all run?
Look,
give me the inside, because I can see that little smile, like it's going, "Oh, should I say it or shouldn't I just spill the beans?"
on the pitch, football is football. You know, it's there's very many similarities worldwide. Off the pitch, it can be vastly different, though, culturally, politically, and there's obviously different factors in Greece that you're probably not faced with here,
and vice versa.
And vice versa, exactly. And that also comes with the fact that, most of the world, they have promotion, relegation. Therefore, there's, people want to win by hook or by crook, and they'll do whatever it takes. And that's something we're not pretty familiar with here, but something that I had to experience over there. And very different off the pitch, but on the pitch, it's football at the end of the day, and the rules don't change.
Am I right to say that in Greece, there's no female soccer team as we promote female soccer teams here? Or is that an incorrect statement by me?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit incorrect, maybe because it's not widely
recognized
known or recognized. Yeah, but I'm always looking, and I'm up to date with Greek football, and the women's game there is picking up considerably the last 3 or 4 years, and they've got their own leagues there now, and the women's national teams are doing quite well in tournaments and in qualifiers. They're constantly improving, and there's more money and allocation going towards improving female football in Greece also.
That's fantastic. It's just disappointing that we don't recognize it here, or a lot of the sports shows are not talking about it to say that in Greece there is a female soccer team. Like we hear, the Sam Curls of this, of this world and going overseas and getting picked up, but we never really hear about Greece. But here you are saying you've personally seen it, but we're not hearing about it. Like there's a little bit of a gap
and look,
there.
I mean, maybe I'm a little bit more in the know because a friend of mine's daughter is currently playing in the young national team. So I'm privy to probably more information and than the normal person would.
Well,
But
you can tell us whatever you like, okay?
yeah, no, it's just the fact that I know that there's a league there and they're
Yeah.
they're doing quite well these days and they're trying to improve the women's game there. That's something that's definitely happening there. I don't know what rate that's improving, to be honest with you, because I'm not over there. But if it's anything like Australia, then in the next 5 to 10 years, it could be a major force in Greece if it's anything like Australia.
Wow. Now, Melbourne Victory, the soccer, it's playing right now in Melbourne, in Australia. It's all happening, and I know how busy you and the coach and the team and everybody can be. Um, Yet you have put your hand up again, and now you are one of the mentors for the Greek Australian Society. First of all, what made you put your hand up? Like how like did you have to do the research, and how do you fit it into your time management amongst coaching one of the best teams here?
Yeah, look, I think like any profession, you always need your time away from your profession as well. So, obviously some people have family and kids that allocate some of their time, or some of them have other interests that try and take their mind away from the actual work. And so this is no different. Like this is something that for me, it might take a little bit of time away from my job, but I don't look at it that way. I look at it as this is actually helping me for my own work because I'm actually taking myself away from my day-to-day working environment and allocating it somewhere else where I have an interest in
And a
um,
passion, because it does
and a
take
passion,
passion as
of
well.
course. Yeah, exactly. And it just came about. Georgia Bliokis just hit me up really and asked if I'd be interested. So I did a little bit of research on gas and what it is and what it does, and I was attracted to it from the word go, to be honest with you, because I'm really passionate about Greek societies and Greeks in general, and anything I can do to help out the Greek community
Well
is
done,
a
well done,
privilege for me.
Arthur.
Yeah.
Well, just for
And to
the
be fair,
for
I've got to give credit to my father-in-law there because for many years he was involved in the Greek communities in Australia, and he
oh,
was a
that's
president of
fantastic.
that for years. Yeah,
He was the
yeah. So
president of, sorry.
of the Kinotita for many years in New South Wales
Wow.
and SAER and all those organisations. So uh, it's
And
like
you're following suit.
I don't owe him, I don't owe him anything really. Like it's something that he's left a legacy with what he did, and it's something I'm really proud of. And
Well
it's
done.
also something I want my kids to know a bit about as well, and being able to follow that within my family and my kids and other generations as well. So it's something I'm really passionate about.
Well, you and I did have a moment down in one of the catch-ups with Gas in the city when they launched for 2024. And I remember asking you as a coach, what can you give as a mentor to the mentees? And just for our listeners that are going to be watching this video, it's basically the organization, and you've got uni students or even students outside of uni, and they need to be mentored, whether it's in the career path they're taking or for motivational reasons or some guidance. And then GAS, the Greek Australian Society, will then tear them up with the correct mentor. And that's the program. And that's basically the basic part of it, but it is more, there's
Yeah.
more things involved there. And I remember asking you, and I believe a lot of people will be asking the same question. Okay, he's an assistant coach, so really, what's he mentoring? Just how to play soccer or what to do with soccer? But you actually told me more than that. It was putting that aside. So let's hear it again.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's like all professions and everyone's work and many successful people, they all have very similar ingredients, and that first and foremost is a work ethic and working hard. And it doesn't matter if you're studying, if you've finished your studies and you're joining the workforce, you're new in a job, or you're a CEO, or you have to work really hard first and foremost, and that's something that uh, becomes easier if you're passionate about something. And if you have an interest and a passion about something, then you're willing to do that and you're willing to do whatever it takes. And then once you reach a certain level and you've got people around you that you have to manage, or people look up to you as a leader, a lot of things come into play, because then now you're dealing with not only work, you're dealing with human beings and interacting with human beings. And not one. It's not a case of one size fits all approach, because once you're dealing with human beings, every human being is different. And
That's
in
right.
football, for example, we have a squad of 26 players, for example. So you have 26 different personalities, different ages, different backgrounds, um, different egos, uh, different level as well. There's some that are a very, very high level, some that are up and coming and young and different ages. So, how do you get all these people working together daily? How do
Wow.
you get them believing in your purpose and your goal for the team? And it's just the same, like, my head coach, he's got to be the leader for our staff. And we've got to believe in what he's doing and his purpose and his vision and his philosophy, and we've got to make sure that we do everything we can to bring that philosophy and purpose to life. So what we do each day is we go out and train the players and get them to work on everything we believe in, want to work on for this team to be successful. And it takes a lot of things. It takes a mental approach, a physical approach, a tactical approach, technical approach, emotional approach. So they're all the different learnings and trainings that we're doing on a daily basis, as a collective, to have one common goal, and that's for the team to be successful.
That's right.
So, the way we work is no different to an organization, a company that, could be in real estate, that could be in the share market, could be whatever. It could be, a team of doctors and surgeons. For us, it's, we work on a daily basis, to get the team ready to win a match on the weekend. And, sometimes you win and sometimes you don't win. And it doesn't mean that when you don't win, that it's been a bad week. You go back and you look over your process and say, okay, did we get the week right? Was every day structured well? Was our process right? Did we tick as many boxes as we could to give us the most chance of winning? And if the answer to that is yes, and it was just an unfortunate result and the other team was better, then you keep going, because you know that you're on the right path, and success will be around the corner. But if you don't have a process that you stick by, which you believe will give you a better chance of being successful, and you're just working day to day without a purpose, then it's like a gamble. And a gamble in life is, you don't know if you're going to win, you don't know if you're going to lose. It's a gamble.
That's
And,
right. That's
you
right.
know, so
Well,
it's very,
you definitely deserve then the title as one of Australia's greatest football talent creators, and we can apply that to being a mentor for GAS. And not to mention that, you've got your own boys, you've worked with 14-year-olds, as you said earlier, and then you've got the adults. So all different age groups. There's a successful team out there. So obviously you and the coach are doing a great job, because you do have to still mentor those, the team players.
yeah, absolutely. And, my background when I started coaching for many years was with young players. And, I had a real passion for that, because I actually love the challenge of working with players, between the ages of 15 and 20, and helping them become professional. Normally I was the last stop before they either make it as professionals or they don't. And that was a real drive and passion of mine, because I was working with young human beings, young men who, you know, were really passionate, but knew every day that the chance of them being a footballer is very, very low.
Wow.
And because that's just the reality of, it's a numbers game. For every team of 20 players, maybe one or two make it each year. What happens to the others? So, I had the approach of, first and foremost, I want them to be successful human beings, and I want them to learn about respect and discipline and hard work. And if they make it in football, it's a bonus. But if they don't make it in football now, maybe they'll make it later, because they still have
That's
those
right.
qualities and values. And if they don't make it at all, maybe they'll still be successful human beings. And if they could be that, then that was an even bigger reward for me than even if they made it as a footballer. So when I worked with that philosophy at the time, that's how I cared about the players that I coached and worked with. We had a really good rapport, and they looked at me not just as a coach, or an older person that's coaching them, but they did look at me as like a mentor. So that's why this program for me is something that's quite fitting, because I've
It
been
is.
there and worked in that
And done
space
that.
before. Yeah, and it's something I'm really passionate about, and probably in the future somewhere I'll probably end up back there at some stage, because I am so driven by it, and I still enjoy it.
And your boys will look up to you, because as they progress through life in their own journey and they become young teenagers and then young adults, you've been there, done that, and you'll be able to give them the correct guidance, whatever path they choose to take. So they will look up to you.
Yeah, and that's true, because at the moment they're doing quite well in their own space of their drama and their acting, and they've made some big stage shows and performances that
Wow,
and
that
have
is so
lead
good.
roles in them.
So good to hear.
Yeah, and it's very difficult because I can't help them a lot in terms of what they're actually doing for their own little profession. But I can tell them that what, you have to be disciplined and you have to
Yeah,
work hard. You have to work as part of a team, because in a show there's other lead actors and lead roles, and they all have to pull their own part for the whole stage and the whole show to be successful. So I can give them that advice, but I can't help them with how to stand up in front of hundreds of people and perform like they do in terms of acting. So they've got their own little story
so
to
you're
tell,
both
and
learning. You're all learning from each other, actually.
yeah, in a way, yeah, in a way, yeah, it's like that.
Arthur, well done. And it's been a pleasure talking to you as the assistant coach for Melbourne Victory, and also being part of GAS, and been talking to the board and to other members. And everybody's so excited. Like, it's just becoming bigger and better at the moment. More members are jumping on board, more mentees want to be mentored. The program is growing, and it's great to have someone like yourself on the team as well.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. And I've had people reach out already. And I think this week I'm catching up with someone for a coffee here in Melbourne, actually. So who had reached out. So yeah,
Amazing.
it's great. It's great. So, and I know football is one of those things, or soccer. I don't know what to refer to it as, especially here in Melbourne, because everyone calls football AFL. But
That's right.
um, football is a funny one, because over the years I've seen so many people who love football, um, but they have their own professions and their own field of
Yeah,
work. They always allocate to coach the young teams or senior teams, and it's something that everyone's really passionate about, and it's normally just a hobby for them. And they haven't been fortunate enough to make a living from it and have it as their
yeah,
profession. So, I know there's a lot of people always interested in football, and they ask a lot of questions on what's it like here and what's it like there, and what do you have to do and what does a day consist of. And it's quite interesting for many people, but for me, I don't look at it as a job. I look at it as a pleasure, and I wake up every
yeah.
day
You got to
enjoying it.
love what you do. You do have to love what you do, because it does take up a lot of our time and a
Yeah,
part of our
absolutely.
lives as well. Have you had
Yeah.
mentees that would speak to you um, wanting motivation or guidance outside of football? Like, they
Well, look,
don't
this
have
is
really have an interest in the football part of it. They've just got an interest in how you motivate.
yeah. I've had people ask a lot of questions about how does that work? How do you prepare a team for a match? What happens when a team loses? It's more about the preparation, and they obviously, I use football as an example, but they ask me, how do I deal with situations?
Okay,
Yeah, it's more situational based, more than why. It's not why didn't your team win, or why did your team win. It's like, okay, what do you do now? Your team hasn't
okay,
won. What happens next? How do you get those players ready to go again, or how do you deal with a player that you know he's not happy in your environment, he's not playing, because it could be someone in the field where they want a promotion and they haven't been able to get it, and they're pissed off they don't have a promotion at work, and what do they do?
that's
How
right.
do they go about that? So it's
And how do you move on from it too and learn from it?
yeah, yeah, correct. Without just saying, okay, well, I'm going to go find a new job. Well, hang on a minute, maybe I can get it within this job first. Why didn't I get the promotion? Maybe it's something I need to do that I haven't been doing, or maybe I just have to wait my time. Maybe I have to just be a little bit more consistent over a longer period of time for them to see my value. You know, um, so like I said, there's a lot of things that overlap. It doesn't matter what field you're in.
What field? That's
There's a
right.
lot of and a lot of things are overlapping, and there's a lot of success stories, whether it's football or non-football, that are very similar. And you know, I think that's the most interesting part in all this.
Arthur, thank you so, so much for your time. And I hope I catch you on the grounds one day, because I
Yeah,
really
no
do like
problem.
Melbourne Victory.
Yes, there's only 5 games left, by the way.
Okay, I will send you a
Yeah,
personal text.
the season's come by really quick.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thanks.